everyone, today in this video I'm going to be checking out the DREAME. This is their H14 wet dry vacuum. So how does the H14 stack up against the competition? Let's go ahead and take a look. We'll look at some key tech specs and features, as well as some measurements that we've taken in-house to get a better feel for its performance compared to the over 20 plus wet dry vacs that we've personally tested. First up, we have decibels. With this value, the higher the number, the louder your unit will be. In this case, we're nearly at the average, just slightly above average by 1 decibel. That's going to be negligible. You won't notice any difference in regards to its loudness. You will hear this while you're using it, but it's not overbearingly loud or anything like that. Moving along to our newest metrics that we just started to test, so we've only covered this with about 7 units. So this is our in-use airflow, where we measure the FPM on a flat surface with the roller brush on top. The H14 comes in a little bit below average at 366 FPM compared to 406. What we're wanting to see with this result and the next result will be a higher value to let us know that we're getting better actual performance right at the floor where the roller brush is making contact. So that leads us to our in-use suction. This is measured in kPAs. Again, the higher the better is what we're going to want to see here. 0.77 for the H14. That's well below the average of 1.45, but we see a lot of fluctuation with this particular measurement, so the verdict's still out. Next, from the manufacturer, we have rated power. This is in watts, 400 watts compared to the average of 300, so we're getting that 100-watt boost on its power. Battery life measured in minutes, we're coming in just 1 minute shy of the average at 35 minutes versus 36 for your typical wet dry vac. Next, clean water tank size. This is measured in milliliters. We have a very large clean water tank, which is great to see. We're 120 milliliters above average. And same can be said for the dirty water tank, also measured in milliliters, 700 milliliters versus the average of 650. This just means with the larger clean and dirty water tanks that you're making less trips to and from your sink to refill and empty. Next, we're gonna look at a couple of features here. The first one, steam cleaning. This feature is not available on the H14. It's only showing up in about 10% of the units that we've tested. Next, self-cleaning. This is very, very common. I had to look back through our data. I thought for sure every wet dry vac that we've covered has had a self-cleaning function. Turns out the Tyneco iFloor 3 Breeze does not, so only 95% of our units have self-cleaning, but that's basically a given today. What's not given though is hot water self-cleaning. This is measured in degrees Fahrenheit, 140 degree hot water washing for the main mop brush roller. Now, compared to all the units we've tested, only about 15% have this feature. We're seeing it trickle more and more into the marketplace with more models offering this feature. And same can be said with hot air drying, also measured in degrees Fahrenheit. We're seeing this feature added more and more to newer and newer models. It's becoming not a baseline feature yet, but it's definitely going to make its way there eventually. 140 degree Fahrenheit hot air drying, that's showing up in about 40% of the units that we've tested. Next, we have edge cleaning. So your options for this is 0 sides, 1 side, or 2 sides. So we have 2-sided edge cleaning here. The average is 1.4 sides, so we're showing that most today are going to have at least 1 side available to give you that closer edge clean. Moving right along to our self-propel. See, kind of, move, self-moving. Yeah, anyways. But self-propel, this feature is absent from the H14. We've only seen it in about 20%. And then probably our H14's best feature, it's its lie flat 180 degree cleaning option here. This is only found on about 20% of the wet dry vacs so far. And this is really a nice feature and option to have. And then last but not least, let's make sense of all this data and look at it through the lens of cost. So for all the features that we just got that were present or absent, how much are you paying for it? Well, compared to your average typical wet dry vacuum, we're going to be about $50 to $100 less. And I'd argue that we get really good performance, above average performance, and a decent feature set. I'd say we're probably right at the average, a little bit higher with the hot water washing. That's pretty clutch. And the 180 degree lie flat versus your typical average wet dry vac that costs more. So the value is definitely going to be in favor for the H14 for what it is.